Hi there, team. My name's George Trachilis. Now, I wanted to share with you a huge gap in the lean community. And that gap is something called the lack of implementing Jidoka and Andon in our lean systems. So I have a pet peeve as well. It's the same as Steve's. So here is Steve, and he's going to explain a little bit about Jidoka and Andon. And in the process, every week, I'm going to deliver a little more of this webinar he did, which was excellent, with Patrick Stoy. So this is going to be over the next 10 or 11 weeks. You're going to get a little information from a webinar. And if you want to download Steve's book, maybe I'm going to put the link below where you can get a few chapters of Steve's book, as well as some information on some free content. So that said, let's start with Steve Spear talking a little bit about this missing link called Jidoka in most lean systems today.
What we're talking about here is Andon and Jidoka, and I deliberately picked those terms because those tie so much back to Toyota production system, Toyota inspiration for lean. But the purpose of today's presentation is to kind of make those relevant in a contemporary fashion. And actually, you'll see some of my slides, I'll start probably going on a rant around a pet peeve that even for the community that looked at Toyota for inspiration going back 10, 20, even 30 years, that this notion of Andon and Jidoka is not nearly as well appreciated and consequently not as nearly well practiced as some of the other things Toyota introduced in terms like value stream maps and pull systems, just-in-time standard work, 5S, Poka-yoke, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, for those of you who are deep into the lean community, hope this sort of says, oh, I really have to pay some attention to that too. And for those who aren't, may have heard some of these terms, I hope you say, well, this is relevant even though I don't make turned metal parts that are fabricated and assembled. Anyway, in terms of the challenge we're talking about, and again, throw into the chat, whether you think this is true or not, is that when we go and try to solve society's problems, and really that's what work is, right? We get together and we try to solve a problem. Sometimes it's a lofty problem, kind of in the Mother Teresa kind of realm of things, and sometimes it's just someone has a need, someone has a want, someone has a desire. But
okay, Steve, what do we have to do?
What we have to do is we have to form up a fairly large group of people with their own particular specialty and expertise. And of course, the issue is if we just get all those people together, we still have nothing. We just have it's like having parts on the table. We don't have any kind of functioning apparatus. And so the real challenge for us is to not only assemble the masses of experts, specialists in this, specialists in that, but make sure that they're working in some coordination, harmonization towards some kind of a collaborative common purpose. And that, as the big fig used to say, that's the tricky part. So anyway, this issue of aligning all these different disparate pieces so they start moving in the same direction effectively. So we really do get a situation where the whole is not just the sum of the parts, but much, 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 much greater than the sum of the parts. I'll assert, and again, throw into the chat whether you believe this or not, I'll assert that this is actually a fairly universal problem. And this is not sector dependent. So for example.
Okay, that's it. That's all we can handle. No more than 6 minutes for any video. Join me next week for Steve's example.